So the first thing on this new standard that we need to talk about, okay, eyes up, page 8. Page 8, come on. First thing we need to talk about is the fact that this entire standard is about communicating, okay? It's all about how you talk about a function. So as we're going through, I'm not just looking for the answer. So we're going to get an answer, but how do I tell somebody what that answer is or where it came from? That's what this standard is all about. So function notation for us is just going to be a way to communicate about the x, or the input, and the y, output. So it's a way for us to communicate about the x's and the y's of a function. Here's just an example of something we're going to communicate about. Oh, you're really close. It's on the left there. Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. So here's an example. So f of 2 equals 10, for example. Okay? So I just wrote down a sentence. And by the end of this standard, you're going to have to be able to tell me what that means. So I'm going to say, hey, what's the answer? And you're going to say, the answer is 10. Nope. What just happened? So what just happened, we're going to write this out in words so that you have it. When I put 2 into the function, I got 10. That's what that says in math. Okay, I'll let you get that down, and then we can talk about it a little bit more, because it communicates more than just that, but we have to kind of understand that part first. So when I have some function, and when I put 2 into the function, I got the answer of 10. Now, in math speak or in fancy terms, you would say this as the function evaluated at 2 is for equals 2, is 10. Okay. The other piece that this is communicating, so that's the first piece. First piece is, what does this mean, this f of? Like, what does that mean? That means I put 2 into my function. The other thing that's communicating there is that the number 2 is your x value in that function. How do I know? Because when I was saying that out loud, I said that I put 2 into the function. X's are your inputs, right? So when I put 2 into my function, that means 2 is my x value, and 10 is your y value. So 2 is your x, and 10 is your y. The normal, everyday function notation, the general function notation is right here. It's f of x. So what that means is I was putting in 2 in place of that x. Okay? So what we're actually going to be doing today is not difficult. You're going to use your calculator, okay? Because multiplying fractions and decimals is not super fun, so we're going to use that in our calculator. But the communication piece is the piece that's brand new to you, and we have to use it. We have to talk about it, okay? So right here, level 1 says that you are given an x equals value. So x equals, says it right here. It says, given an input, that's x equals, find the output. So find the answer, right? So when I put in -7, what do I get? So let's do the right side only. Okay, let's worry about just the right side here. 0.3, I am going to put into that function a -7. All right, that is your input. Then you grab a calculator and let's simplify this out a little bit. Hopefully you know where the negative button is in your calculator. What is 0.3 times negative 7? What you got?
Negative 2.1.
Okay, so this is negative 2.1 minus 1.2. Got it. Negative 3.3. Okay, that's the right side. But like I said, I'm not looking just for the answer because this is all about communicating function notation. So the other side of this is on the left side, you have to put the function was evaluated at negative 7. The reason I bring that in at the end, okay, so my final answer here is my function was evaluated at negative 7, and I got the answer negative 3.3. The reason I bring that in at the end is because I don't want you to think that that's multiplication and now I should divide. Because you're not dividing, you're done. It's a communication tool, it's not a multiplication sign. Okay? So this is how you would say this. When I plugged negative 7 into my function, I got the answer of negative 3.3. Okay? That's it. There you go. Done. So right, the actual math is not difficult today. Okay? But the communication is brand new. Here's the other thing you need to know. What just happened? Like, what did I just do? What did I just get? When I put negative 7, which is an x value, into my function, I got out negative 3.3, which is a y value, and that's just a dot. That's just a dot on the graph. That's why we started this entire unit with, do you know how to graph dots? Okay, because we just found a dot. That's all we did. We found a dot that happened to be on that function. Okay, let's do it again. This one has fractions. Oh, no. Okay. So we're plugging in 4. We're plugging 4 into the function. This function has a g. Is that legal? Yes. It is legal to have a g, or an h, or an a, or an f, or a b, or a p. It really could be anything. That letter does not have to be an f. It can really be anything. So g of 4, so it plugs in there. But it also is going to plug in here. So my function at 4 is, let's get that fraction there, negative 2 over 5. I'm going to go through how to actually work this out. But if you're real good at your calculator, you can type it in and get the answer just with your calculator, and there's going to be no penalty for doing that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work this out, though. So negative 2 times 4 is negative 8/5 plus 1 over 10. And you can't actually add those together because they're not like denominators. You have to have a common denominator to add them together. Okay, so to get those to be a common denominator, I'm going to have to multiply these by 2. So I would get negative 16 over 10, and I'm going to add that to 1 over 10. See how long this is taking me? Anybody have an answer already? Typed it in their calculator, got an answer? Negative what? Close. No. Negative 15 over 10. And then I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to reduce them both by 5. So I do get negative 3 over 2. Okay, that's a lot of work, though, so try typing it in your calculator. There's a couple different ways that we can type it into a calculator. So you've got the calculator in front of you. I just want to show you a button. Right? Everybody's got a fraction button on their calculator, which is right there. Can't even see my hand. It's this guy right here. It says N over D. So if you want to use that to do your fractions, you can do that. my calculator is set to a little bit different mode, so it would be -2. I'd hit that button 5. And so if you're not sure how to deal with calculators or fractions, you can use your calculator, use this N over D button, okay? And that button will let you put a fraction into the calculator, but mine looks like this. Some of yours that are floating around will make it actually look like a real fraction. Okay, it just depends on what mode your calculator is in. All right. So if I wanted to take that times 4, and notice it gives me that 8/5. It gives me that same 8/5 that I had here, and then I can just write that down, 8/5 plus 1/10, and then I'm going to add that to 1/10. And it'll give me -3/2, which is what I ended up with at the end anyway. Okay. So I don't want the fraction to be the thing that keeps you from doing the problem. We want to just keep going, and if we need to use the calculator, then we need to use the calculator. Okay, that's level 1. How many of you think, I'm good, I can pass, I can do a level 1, right? Easy peasy, right? This is the same thing. Level 2 is the same thing. The communication is different. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to plug in a number for X. The question is, what number do I plug in?
Okay, I got A, but I did not get B.
Hang on. So what did you plug in for A? What number?
I did S, and then the 7. Oh, not down there, like on the top. Like I got how you did A, but I didn't get how you did B.
Well, that's because I worked all of the fraction stuff out. It's probably the fraction stuff, so we'll work through that with your calculator, okay? Second one down here. This guy right here is telling you what your X value is, right? See that? That is your X value. This is telling you, this is communicating to you that X equals 5. So my function at 5 equals, and now you need to plug in 5. But you need to plug in that 5 and make sure that you know that that's what it's communicating. That's all. That's all you got to know. You got to know that that is telling you that X equals 5, and we plug it in. So we go 2 times 5, and then we add 7. You see? Okay, so that's going to be -10 plus 7, which is -3. Okay. Let's try another one because I got another fraction for you. Okay, so this right here, all this is communicating to you is that there is a number that you have to plug in. You got to plug in a 9. Okay? So I need to take my function and plug in 9. Okay, grab your calculator. Type this part in. So do you know how to get the fraction in your calculator? Okay. So 2 over 3 times 9. It's 6, right? Okay, and then you take away 4. Yeah, so this is 6 minus 4. So my function at 9 is 2. Pretty straightforward. Okay? If you turn the page, so page 9, there's like 8 problems right there. So I'm going to give you some time to do those 8 problems, and then we're going to do like 3 more together, like the last 5 minutes of class. So don't put anything away. The last 5 or 10 minutes, and as soon as you finish those 8 problems, you could have like 10 minutes of time to just chill. We're just waiting to see if we get those couple of problems done. Don't go past those first 8. Ooh, nice. Did you make a little clay pot or something? Is it a dog? That's what I thought it was. There you go. That's super cool. Staring at me though. Don't stop staring. think we're ready. Oh, sorry. I just lost my shoe there. Page 9 at the bottom. Okay, so something that you need to understand, at the top of this, you just did level 1 and level 2. Okay? So do you think right now you'd be at a level 2? I think so. And something that you didn't know this, okay, so you all heard hopefully the announcement of the 9 o'clock change for next year?
Yeah.
So we're starting class at school at 9 o'clock starting next year. These are the announcements today. Woo, 9 to 4. That's our school day. 9 to 4. Yep.
Is every school doing that, or
Just Limerick.
It's because we are out of school today.
I'm not going to school next year.
Hey,
Anyway, it's actually because of school-based research that high school students think better in late afternoon or evening. So the later we start,
I think I don't think all that.
So that's change number 1. Change number 1 happens at the start of next school year. Change number 2 happens right now.
Oh,
It's actually a benefit to y'all. Level 2, yep, this is the other change that just came down the pipe, right? I have no effect on these changes, so if you hate them all, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. Second change, though, is that a level 2 is now a 75% instead of a 70%.
My science teacher said there's no 2.5 and 1.5. Is that true?
No. Maybe in their class, maybe. But next year, when we roll over next year to standards-based grading, everybody has to follow that. But it could be. No, there is. It could be for that one standard or for that one piece of class. They're not offering a 1.5. You either got it or you don't. Maybe. Okay, so that might be just that classroom. But there are 1.5s and 2.5s starting next year. But the 2 is a 75. So if you can do those 8 problems, you just got a 75% on that assessment. Whoop, whoop.
Why exactly did we move it to numbers?
Like 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
I'll tell you after we do these 3 problems.
No, I just saw it posted.
Yeah, it's posted.
What is
The 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock start time?
You know when intermediate start at 7:50 in the morning? That sucks.
Okay, here we go. So here's the difference now. Level 3. Okay, this is how you get to. So somebody was working earlier and like, can I just stop and not do any more? Sure, if you want to be a level 1.
I'm good.
If you want to be a level 2, level 3. So this is level 3. Level 3 is you need to find x, find the value of x, so that you get the answer of negative 13. Okay, now that seems like it's difficult, but hang on. Here's what just happened. Did I tell you what x is? No. I did not tell you what x is. So you are not taking this number 13 and plugging it in for x. It does not go in for x. What does it go in for? It goes in for f of x. So we're going to take that number and we're going to drop it into f of x, not x. Okay? So this number gets dropped into f of x, not x. Okay? So let's do this. Negative 13 is equal to negative 3x plus 2.
Do we have to do this like -2 and all that?
Yes. We're going to do minus 2 to both sides. So this is going to be negative 15.
So we just divide?
And then we just divide.
So x equals 5.
X equals 5. So it's not as bad as you thought, right?
It's just like the old stuff pretty much.
Okay, so let's try it again just to make sure we understand this here. There's a typo. Sorry about this. Given f of x equals 6x plus 9, find x when f of x equals negative 3. Sorry about that. That is my fault. I typed this. We're still finding x. It's the same thing. So where are you going to plug this negative 3 into? Well, negative 3 is f of x. So you're going to replace f of x over here, replace it with negative 3. So this negative 3 goes in for f of x. I gotta solve it. You have the answer. Yeah? Okay, minus 9 from both sides. So that's going to give us negative 12. Divided by 6. And x equals? Negative 2. Yeah, negative 2. Because I had negative 12.
Yeah.
So it would be negative 2. Okay, I've got one more here. F of x. I forgot that f again. Right, there it is. So that negative 9 is going in place of the f of x over here. Minus 12. It's negative. Keep the negative. Divide by 7. X equals positive 3 this time. Yeah, I'm positive. Okay. And if you turn the page, that's where we're going to start tomorrow, as you can kind of see the classwork that goes with this. But we're done for the day today. So page 9 should be done, right? We got that fully done. And then we'll start on page 10 tomorrow.